Sixth debate, sixth debate, sixth debate, sixth debate, sixth debate. On the third day of our speakers National Youth Debating Competition. This afternoon, we have two exciting youth groups debating. But first, let me introduce to you our judges for this afternoon. Our chief judge is Ms. Nazima Raghuveer. Ms. Raghuveer is a print and broadcast journalist here. In 2018, she became the first elected woman to head the 76-year-old Guyana Press Association. She serves on the boards of the Jamaica headquartered Media Institute of the Caribbean and the University of Guyana Broadcasting Trust. For all her working life, Ms. Raghuveer has been in the media as a writer, reporter, managing editor, news presenter, with stints at Prime News and as editor of Insight, a public affairs journal. She's a stringer correspondent for a number of regional and international news organizations. Ms. Raghuveer has authored and edited several print and multimedia productions, including a published guide to the Parliament of Guyana, documentaries covering development issues, news, and numerous conference presentations. Our next judge is Mr. Neil Marks. Neil has worked in the print and broadcast media in our country for the past 22 years. He currently works as a producer and editorial consultant with Newsroom while working as Guyana's correspondent for Reuters. Mr. Marks' work has appeared in the New York Times, the BBC, and the UK Guardian. He is the immediate past president of the Guyana Press Association. Ms. Marks serves as a project volunteer on community enhancement. Apart from English, Neil speaks Mandarin. He's an advocate for Creole language, and his goal includes establishment of community-based news hubs in our country in Guyana's minority languages. Our third judge this afternoon is Mr. Rion Miller. Rion is a former youth parliamentarian. He was the best debater of the Youth Parliament 2018. He was also the senior counsel for the winning team at the CCJ International Law Mooting Competition 2019. Mr. Miller holds a Bachelor's of Law degree and is a second-year law student at the Hugh Wooding Law School. He is a member of the Caribbean Airlines Parkside Steel Orchestra and a founder/creative director of Pan Jazz Concerts. Those are our judges for this afternoon's debate. Our proposing team this afternoon is Swing Star Community Developer Group. The Swing Star Community Developer Group was established in 2002. It is located at West Public Road, number 58 Village, Upper Quarantine, Berbice. The aim of this group is to prepare young people in the community for a bright future. Services provided by this group includes counseling and testing for HIV/AIDS, computer classes, preschool programs, educating young people on suicide prevention, and teaching joinery. The group is managed by youths and community leaders from the area. Swing Star Community Developer Group has touched the lives of many people over the years and will continue to work for the development of youth in this country. Swing Star will be led by Mr. ANIL Kevin is 14 years old from number 58 Village, East Berbice. And the third speaker is TAJNAUTH SOOKDEO, 30 years old from Corriverton, Berbice. The opposing team is the ANIL Regina Youth Group. The ANIL Regina Youth Group is a dynamic team of charismatic, optimistic, and intelligent young people. The president is Faraz Baksh. The group's main objective is to motivate youth to start taking responsibility for their country through cooperation. Their first speaker is Ms. Devi Vishani Naipal, 28 years old from Reliance Essequibo. The second speaker is Mr. Rajkumar Hemraj, 23-year-old from JB Essequibo Coast. And the third speaker for the ANIL Regina Youth Group is Mr. AMAR LOCHAN BOODRAM, 19 years old from Mainstay Essequibo. The moot today is single-use plastic products should be banned in Guyana. Again, that moot, single-use plastic products should be banned in Guyana. I now declare this debate open and call on the first speaker for the proposition, Mr. ANIL RAMGAHAN, from the Swing Star Youth Group, to make his presentation. ANIL, you're up. Yes, ANIL. ANIL is up. Testing.
Mr. Speaker, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I think you made a mistake with you mix up the order in which we would be going. My name is ANIL RAMGAHAN. I'd be the last speaker, the third speaker. Mr. Kevin ADHAR would be our first speaker, and TAJNAUTH SOOKDEO would be our second speaker.
Okay, so this is the Swing Star Community Developer Group, and the speaker list before me had ANIL RAMGAHAN, Kevin ADHAR, and TAJNAUTH SOOKDEO, but I'm getting a different third speaker. So could you give us the lineup again, please?
Kevin ADHAR, first speaker. TAJNAUTH SOOKDEO, second speaker. ANIL RAMGAHAN, third speaker.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
My apologies to Swing Star. The order I have here was different. The first speaker for Swing Star is Mr. Kevin ADHAR. Kevin is 14 years old. Kevin, it is your time to lead off today's proceeding. It's 2:10.43. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sagacious judges, erudite members of the opposition, my colleagues on the proposition, all, good afternoon to you. I rise to persuade you beyond the shadow of a doubt that single-use plastic products should be banned in Guyana. I, the first speaker, will address the need for this ban with regard to the environment and to public health. Our second speaker will address the social and economic impact of this ban. And our third speaker will address the practicality of such a ban. Please allow me to define the key terms of today's moot. According to the Natural Resources Defense Council Incorporated, single-use plastic products are defined as, and I quote, goods that are made primarily from fossil fuel-based chemicals, petrochemicals, and are meant to be disposed of right after use, often in mere minutes, end of quote. The Guyana Environmental Protection Agency lists low recycling potential as a quality of single-use plastic products. Single-use plastics in science are excluded from this ban. The Oxford Dictionary defines ban as, and I quote, an official rule that something is not allowed, end of quote. Now that I have given my definition for today's use, allow me to provide evidence to show the devastating impact single-use plastic have on our environment. Single-use plastic products are detrimental to our environment because it is non-biodegradable and environmentally persistent. Hence, single-use plastic products threaten our biodiversity. According to an article published by the University of Exeter in 2018, out of 102 turtles from the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans that were tested, 100% were found with microplastic inside of their intestine. According to an article published by the Ocean Crusaders Plastic Statistics, consumption of and entanglement in single-use plastics cause 100,000 deaths of marine animals annually and 1 million deaths of seabirds. Now that I've proven the environmental need for such a ban, I will now go to show how this ban will protect our public health. Single-use plastic products are a public health threat. According to an article published by The Guardian UK, microplastics were found in human feces. It is proven that plastic in the environment break up and not break down. And marine microplastic find their way into our water supply, and it is consumed by humans. Our research conducted by Yang, Yanigan, and Nara in 2011 showed that ingestion or exposure to single-use plastic cause illnesses. Single-use plastic products contain endocrine disruptors like bisphenol A and phthalates. These interfere with our hormones. Plastics have a high risk of causing illnesses like altered sex behavior, reduced sperm count, infertility, and even cancer. Judicious judges learned our position. We depend on nature, but we are harming her in the name of convenience. Life, whether human or not, has been assailed and even ended by single-use plastic products. A pernicious aggression. Now, we remain hesitant to change the status quo. It is human carelessness that caused this problem. I beg you, for all of us, not to let recklessness continue. Stand resolutely in favor of a ban on single-use plastics in Guyana. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. The first speaker for the opposing side, the ANIL Regina Youth Group, is Ms. Devishani Naipal. Ms. Naipal is 21 years old and comes from Reliance, Essequibo Coast. I now ask Ms. Naipal to make her presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable judges, members of the proposition, audience all, a pleasant afternoon. We, the members of the opposition, stand firm in opposing the MOOT, and I quote, single-use plastic products should not be banned in Guyana, unquote. Esteemed judges, please permit me to define the key terms in the MOOT. According to the Oxford Dictionary, single, only one. Plastic, a group of material either synthetic or naturally occurring that may be shaped as desired. Products, articles or substances manufactured or refined for sales. Banned, officially or legally prohibited or prevented. We have interpreted the MOOT to mean articles or substances made from a group of synthetic or naturally occurring materials designed for being used only once, which are refined for sale, should not be banned in Guyana. I will converse about the benefits of single-use plastic products within the health industry and its importance during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our second speaker will be talking about the role of single-use plastic in packaging and its safety. And our third speaker will elaborate on its environmental benefits and its precipitous economy. Mr. Speaker, erudite judges, to begin with, it is evident that healthcare professionals and patients rely on sterile plastics to protect health and hygiene. Single-use plastics are the most efficient way to provide for those needs. Plastic reduces risk related to pathogens. A study done at the Texas American University in Guyana in 2010 measured bacteria in a sample of reusable bags, finding many contains dangerous ones. For example, coliform found in half the bags and E. coli found in 12% of the bags. Independently, it is highly valued for adaptability, protective properties, and cost of effectiveness. Plastics are uniquely suited to meet the stringent standards and requirements of the medical and healthcare packaging industry. Many scientists cringe as they look at their waste bin. Typically, it will be filled with pipettes, gloves, and the list goes on. These items are used for their strength and resilience and also prevent cross-contamination. With sampling, as with medical application, many substitute materials do not provide the protection or stability that single-use plastics do. Mr. Speaker, on that point, and I quote, "The greatest wealth is health," unquote. Why then would we want to ban such a product when it contributes to our well-being? Furthermore, the coronavirus pandemic has revealed that the short-term use of plastics curb outbreaks and help people feel safe. We, the opposition, think that single-use plastic were painted in a negative light that implied the use of this material was suboptimal. Honorable judges, an article in the Guyana Times newspaper dated 17th May 2019 by Cassia Bradley, economy manager, highlighted advantages single-use plastics have provided during this crisis. She commented, single-use items reduce exposure by eliminating the need for personnel to wash and disinfect everyday items and medical-specific ones. Most importantly, during a crisis like this, single-use items allow frontline workers to focus on treating the sick and eradicating the virus instead of worrying about the cleanliness of the tool used. While the members of the proposition will be saying that banning single-use plastic is the best thing, life cycle studies that assess the environment impacts various products, including cloth, paper, etc. Plastics often outperform cloth or other reusable products when it comes to environment footprints. Prestigious judges, single-use plastic products play a vital role in the health sector. Dr. Simon Jones, former lab technician of the Georgetown Public Hospital, stated, and I quote, "Plastic is a miracle material. Thanks to plastic, countless lives have been saved in the health sector, and safe food storage has been revolutionized." End of quote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Naipaul. I now go to the second speaker for the Swing Star Youth Group. That is Mr. TAJNAUTH SOOKDEO. TAJNAUTH, it is your turn.
Then let me see on here.
Okay, hold a minute. Hold.
Raise a hand. I can't hear them.
No sound. TAJNAUTH, you have to start all over again.
Mr. Speaker, don't worry about alternatives. There are many. Guyana Chronicle newspaper dated 12th of December 2013 reported that canvas bags are environmentally friendly, economically sustainable, and they are durable for groceries and household shoppings. Why not the government provide incentives and lands to encourage farmers to plant cotton, as we did in colonial times?
Hold on.
Why not encourage companies to invest and make cotton canvas bag? This will create employment.
TAJNAUTH,
We're now getting your sound. You have to start all over again. We're having some difficulties. Audio.
Give me a test. 1, 2.
Test 1, 2. Tej, could you say something? Let's hear if we're getting audio.
Yes, sir. Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Yes, we're hearing you now, and it's now 2:21:45. You can start.
Greetings to all distinguished speaker, honorable judges, and competent members of the opposition. Today, I will be speaking about how a ban in single-use plastic in Guyana will benefit society and benefit our economy. Many countries in the world already ban single-use plastic. In this year, China, being the latest to impose a ban on single-use plastic, last year, October, the European Parliament voted on a ban on a range of single-use plastic, Mr. Speaker. What is Guyana waiting for? It is time that we act, and we act now to pass legislations to ban single-use plastic in this country. Mr. Speaker, don't worry about alternatives. We have many of them. Guyana Chronicle newspaper, dated 12th of December, reported that canvas bags, they are environmentally friendly, they're economically stable, they are durable for groceries and household shoppings. Why not the government of Guyana provide incentives and land to encourage farmers to plant cotton, as we did in colonial times? Why not encourage companies to invest in making cotton canvas bags? This will create employment. This will boost our economy. This will boost our GDP, creating revenues equal to or outweigh revenues generated from plastic production. Alternatives to single-use plastic, Mr. Speaker, they're appropriate, they're economical, and they're easily accessible, ranging from cloth, paper, and bagasse. Mr. Speaker, customers are drawn to businesses who demonstrate environmental and social responsibilities. It is also being reflected in their investment choices. Mr. Speaker, honorable judges, a study conducted in 2012 by Guy Enterprise revealed that customer investment in just four sets of reusable shopping bags will be able to one family shopping for a year and will not pollute the environment, will not kill any animal, and will the whole set can be reused for many years, Mr. Speaker. According to an article published by DPI 2019, a ban on single-use plastic will promote the protection, restoration, and sustainable use of coastal and marine resources. Finally, the ban will contribute to an influx of tourists into Guyana, since many tourists, Mr. Speaker, choose their holiday destination to countries that are eco-friendly, that have green policies, revenues that will be increased, more small businesses will grow, and the environment will be safe. Honorable Speaker, esteemed judges, members of the opposition, what are we waiting for? Ban the use of single-use plastic now. And I say now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, TAJNAUTH. And the second speaker for the opposing
Regina Youth Group is Mr. Rajkumar Kemraj. Rajkumar, the opportunity is now yours to make your presentation.
All protocols observed, a pleasant day to you all. I am without a doubt resolute in my disagreement with MOOT as my colleagues in opposition. Single-use plastic products should be banned in Guyana. Before constructing such a drastic statement, have we allowed ourselves the possible benefits of using this distinct material? Mr. Speaker, it is my commitment today to bring you to the light at the end of this very dark tunnel. To commence my argument, I wish to bring to your attention the maximization of utilization of single-use plastic products. Take a moment to reflect on your daily lives. How often do you make use of plastic products? How many of the products that you use are plastic? In a position statement published by the British Plastic Federation on May 21st, 2019, top chemists divulged that there remains a case for single-use plastic products as it reduces food waste and costs, minimizes the risk of contamination, and increases the range of products we are able to buy. The government and other stakeholders should implement rules and legislations to reduce littering. A research was done at a local community and was reported that 60% of persons litter, and I repeat, 60% of persons litter. With that said, more enforcement done by legislation body can curb littering and help our country as a whole. Mr. Speaker, Lord members of the proposition audience all, what further evidence do we possibly need to finally comprehend the significance of single-use plastic products? Are we still adamant to ban this product? If we do, then what other substitute do we put our confidence into? Just be as exemplary. Furthermore, it is no surprise to us that plastic materials are the leading recycled products. How stunning would it be to be able to use the same product but for a different purpose every time? Now, an attainment like this is what I call a life-changing. The Catch Federation NGO on March 6, 2014 made it their priority to disclose to the world the benefits of recycling plastic. Plastic, unlike any other materials, has the potential to be made into something new after every use. When we recycle, we can reduce the exhaustion of dying resources of the planet. Instead of squandering a new resource every time, We can recycle plastic. The environmentalists of this NGO proclaim that recycling plastic materials reduce pollution of the ecosystem, consumes less energy, and protects natural resources, save depleting landfill space, eases demand of fossil fuel consumption, reduces greenhouse gas emission, and reduces waste in our environment as a whole. Why then, after being presented with all these exceptional benefits, would we waste the time, energy, and money to acquire a new material and ban a perfectly functioning one? Please let us not embarrass ourselves by being this dense. Upon concluding, I am persistent and unwavering in my opposition to the MOOT single-use plastic products should be banned in Guyana. I staunchly believe that you, Mr. Speaker, are competent enough to comprehend the validity of my argument and realize the relevance of single-use plastic products in our lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rajkumar. And now for the third speaker for the proposition, Mr. ANIL RAMGAHAN. ANIL, it is your turn.
Mr. Speaker, esteemed judge, members of the opposition, good afternoon to you all. As I stand before you this afternoon to cement my team's proposal that single-use plastic products should be banned in Guyana, Mr. Speaker, single-use plastic products should be banned in Guyana because it is a practical solution. Mr. Speaker, why is it a practical solution? Because Guyana depends mainly on its biodiversity. Its main tourism product is its biodiversity. Single-use plastic product destroys this biodiversity. Guyana is very fortunate to be one of the very few countries of the world, Mr. Speaker, that 4 out of 7 species of marine turtle visit on a yearly basis. According to our Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce 2020, Guyana is ranked among the top 20 green economies of the world. Mr. Speaker, another reason why Guyana should ban single-use plastic product because there is no other alternative. Mr. Speaker, a levy is too subjective to be trusted to regulate business activities. Mr. Speaker, money lost on levies will be taxed to consumers. Mr. Speaker, levies do not stop manufacturing. Mr. Speaker, according to the Natural Resources Defense Council Incorporated, recycling is impractical. Mr. Speaker, 91% of single-use plastic products are not accepted at recycling plants. Mr. Speaker, another reason why single-use plastic products should be banned in Guyana is because, according to the World Economic Forum Report 2020, some of the countries that are leading the quest to ban single-use plastic products are Antigua and Barbuda, China, Colombia, Romania, Senegal, South Korea, and several states in the United States. Which shows, Mr. Speaker, that unlike what the opposition may want us to believe, that the economic status of the country does not determine the reason why it should ban or should not ban single-use plastic products. Mr. Speaker, Guyana depends heavily on a ban on single-use plastic product because it affects our environment. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Anil. And the last speaker for the Regina Youth Group is Mr. AMAR LOCHAN BOODRAM. AMAR, it is your turn to make your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Salutations, esteemed judges, friends of the proposition, audience all. I rise as the third speaker of the opposition to further convince you that single-use plastic products should not be banned in Guyana. Mr. Speaker, honorable judges, single-use plastic products are often referred to as items only being used once before they're recycled or thrown away. ExxonMobil shares society concern about plastic waste in our environment. And I quote, plastic provides significant sustainable benefits versus alternative materials and will continue to play an important role in helping society mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. End of quote. Therefore, industries, government, non-governmental organizations, and consumers must work collaboratively to encourage appropriate recycling and recovery of plastic waste. Plastic helped to provide production, distribution, and prevention of food and water. Mr. Speaker, friends of the proposition, with that being said, products produced with natural resources tend to utilize more resources and more time to produce, which causes more emission of toxic gases. Hence, this will contribute to global warming. I know preservation is better than cure, but banning single-use plastic product isn't a cure. Honorable judges, fellow competitors, does single-use plastic product have an important environmental benefit? A statistical data report was conducted on Guyana's population on the 11th of February 2021, recording a population of, and I quote, 788,400 persons living in Guyana, end of quote. With that said, a tremendous 72% of household families in Guyana recycle single-use plastic products to reduce the cost of spending and help to maintain our environment. With Guyana's growing economy, we should put more emphasis on recycling single-use plastic items since majority are used in businesses for packaging. With Guyana tends to be the land of many waters. With the coastal mostly populated geographically, it takes approximately 500 years to decompose. Esteemed judges, allow me to come to my second argument. The business community is benefiting tremendously from single-use plastic product as well. There are varieties of studies in the market today discovering more benefits on single-use plastic items, and the demand for this plastic packaging is higher than ever. Our research was done by excellent business developers at the local bakery shop, and I quote, Falcon used a cartridge muffin containers and consumers could not see the product well, so they switched to plastic muffin tray, end of quote. Would you believe me, within the first month, there was an increase of 50% of muffin sales using a newer container that was made from post-consumer recycled content, and the product was 100% recyclable. Isn't single-use plastic product economical? To conclude my argument, erudite judges, Mr. Speaker, members of the proposition, I must say my team and I are very convinced that single-use plastic is much more important to our country and it should not be banned. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Amar. And there you have it. Our two teams, the 6 presenters, the proposing team coming from the Swing Star Youth Group, and the opposition from the ANIL Regina Youth Group. Our debaters will now pool their thoughts together in preparation for the debate, for the rebuttal. The rebuttal will be led by the opposing team. Ms. Naipaul will lead off for the opposing team, and for the proposition, leading off for the proposition is Mr. Kevin ADHAR. This Speaker's National Youth Debating Competition is an inaugural one, and we intend to make it a calendar activity. I will now ask you to listen to our chairperson, who will give you some more information on the Speaker's National Youth Debating Competition.
Welcome to the inaugural Speakers National Youth. Welcome to the inaugural Speakers National Youth Debating Competition. Honorable National Assembly recognizes the need to promote a broader awareness of institutions of democracy, particularly the Parliament, among our young people. Out of this recognition, birthed the National Youth Debating Competition. This competition serves as a feeder into the 6th Annual Youth Parliament 2021. Rather than having participants in Youth Parliament being students of the University of Guyana only, this competition will allow for broader participation among young people in civil society. The competition involves 48 participants from 16 youth groups across the education districts of Guyana. These groups were nominated by the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport. The competition, moderated by the Honorable Speaker, will see 15 sessions of debates. 4 sessions will be held each week, on Tuesdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. The debates will be adjudicated by a total of 9 capable and erudite judges who are organized in pools of 3 and who will be rotated over the duration of the competition. Each competition must have rules. The rules of this national youth debating competition are: participants must be present 10 minutes before the commencement of the debate. 15 minutes lateness would result in disqualification and an automatic win for the other team. Each team must consist of only 3 members, all from the same youth group. Failure to comply will result in the disqualification of the team. Once a team has started the competition, no member should be replaced. The first speaker will be the first speaker of the proposing team, followed by the first speaker of the opposing team, and it will alternate in this order. The times allotted to each speaker are as follows. First speaker, 4 minutes. Second and third speakers, 3 minutes. And the rebuttal will be 5 minutes. The rebuttal must be done by only the first speaker on each team. No new arguments or materials should be introduced into the rebuttal. 10 points will be deducted for introduction of new arguments. A bell will be rung first to indicate that the speaker should commence. The second bell will indicate that 1 minute is remaining, and there would be a final bell when that time has elapsed. 5 points will be deducted from each speaker who does not adhere to the allotted time. In the event of technical difficulties, a speaker may be allotted additional time. This is at the discretion of the judges. Speakers may refer to notes but should not read them. 5 points will be deducted from any speaker who reads a prepared speech. Points will be awarded for reasoning and logic, originality, relevance, mechanics, articulation, development of argument, development of points, attitude to opponent, and cohesion. There must be keen attention paid to subject and verb agreement. And finally, the judges' decisions are final. This competition is not without reward. With regard to prizes, I am pleased to inform you that 24 participants out of the total of 48 winners of the first round of this competition will advance to become members of Youth Parliament 2021. Every participant would receive a certificate of participation, a youth debater's pin, and special tokens. Prizes include trophies, plaques, cash, and electronics, and will be awarded to the best debater in each round, all semi-finalists and finalists. I have the confidence that we could look forward to very meaningful and robust debates over the next few weeks. Honorable Mansour Nadir, Speaker of the National Assembly and moderator, will now take us through the debate. Best of luck, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ms. Charles. And now we are ready for the rebuttals. The opposing team, the Regina Youth Group, they will lead off with Ms. Devishani Naipal. Devishani, you may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable judges, members of the proposition all, I once again stand before you to further convince you that we members of the opposition has left no stone unturned to assure you that single-use plastic does not need to be banned. Let me shed some light to the presentation that was presented by the proposing team. Firstly, the first speaker of the proposition mentioned that our health is affected by single-use plastic, but he has failed to realize that we have already argued that such is not the case if it is disposed of properly. And do not forget, as I have mentioned, former lab technician Dr. Simon Jones of Georgetown Public Hospital said that plastic has been a miracle in saving lives. The third speaker said that single-use plastic end up littering the environment, but this is due to irresponsible behavior and poor waste management system in our beautiful country. As my third speaker would have mentioned that industries, government, non-governmental organizations, and consumers should work collaboratively to encourage appropriate recycling and recovering of plastic waste. Then there is no need to ban them. We can raise awareness and educate people more on the topic. The first speaker of the proposing team has also said that it damages the marine lives of sea creatures. Again, it comes down to proper waste management system in our country, and also the role to dispose properly is upon all of us. The second speaker has mentioned about policies that are already in place on how to dispose plastic waste. But honorable judges, how effective are those laws and how often are they upheld? As my second speaker have mentioned, that report showed 60% of persons litter. More enforcement done by legislation body can curb littering and help our country as a whole. So that's why we are saying that we need not to ban these items, but to have these laws enforced in the manner it should, so as to stop littering and encouraging recycling. Of course, it's laudable that we want to do our best to reduce littering, no matter how small. But rather than banning products that have real benefits, a better approach would be to focus on litter control and other policies to ensure proper disposal. Prestigious judges, as a kid, we were told, don't be a litter bug, and taught if we put trash where it should go and recycle, then we can make things easier for all of us. So my friends of the proposing team, come to reality and accept that banning these plastic items will not solve our problem. So don't beat around the bush. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Naipol. And
For the proposition, we now call on Mr. Kevin ADHAR to make his rebuttal.
Honorable judges, I rise before you once more to refute the illogical claim made by the opposition. The opposition claimed that rather than ban single-use plastic, we could recycle them. But as my second speaker would have said, as my third speaker would have said, recycling is impractical. 91% of single-use plastic products are not recycled. And Guyana doesn't have a recycling plant. So even if we could have recycled it, we don't have the proper facilities necessary to recycle these single-use plastic products. And single-use plastic products are proven to be harder to recycle. So the recycling plants just send them to landfills and in the environment. And once again, it enters into our oceans and marine lives are still disrupted. The third speaker said that we should cure the problem, but we are not trying to cure a problem. We're trying to prevent it from causing more damage than it already has. The rules, the third speaker said that the rules are not being properly enforced. If there are rules in place just preventing these plastic products, who will enforce it? And how can we be sure that they will be properly enforced? A ban is way more practical than simply putting rules and expecting it to be enforced. The opposition said that the medical field needs the single-use plastic ban, the single-use plastics, to help with the patients and the gloves and whatever.
Kevin,
Kevin, we lost you there after about 2 minutes. You will have to start all over again.
The first claim.
Kevin, you have to start all over again.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. The opposition claimed that recycling is a way better option than completely banning single-use plastic products. But Guyana does not have a recycling facility. We do not have the resources necessary to recycle. And 91% of single-use plastic products are not even recycled at all. Rather, they are dumped in landfills and into the environment. And once again, they're harming our animals and endangering our wildlife. We also need tourism, and the animals and the environment provide tourism. So when these things are being dumped into our environment, we are saving single-use plastic, the GDP that comes from it, but we are killing animals and our environment, and we are destroying our tourism. We are destroying the income that we could have from our biodiversity. The third speaker said that they're trying to cure a problem. We're not trying to cure the problem. We are trying to prevent it from causing more damage than it already has. If there are rules in place to properly enforce this ban, who would enforce it? How would it be enforced? A ban is way more practical than trying to put rules in place. They said that the medical field needs single-use plastic products, but as I would have stated, single-use plastic products are not biodegradable. So when they're thrown away, they go back into our water stream and back into humans, which cause more illnesses. I hope that this was enough to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that single plastic product should be banned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
And there you have it. The two teams for this afternoon's competition, the 6 debating contest that we have. First, the proposing team, Swing Star Community Developer Group, out of number 58 Village, Upper Quarantine, way on the eastern side of our country, and they were opposed all the way from the west by the Regina Youth Group. Our judges will now have the opportunity to summarize their scores and collect their thoughts. Today marks the 6th debating competition we had in the first round, and this is the 3rd day. We have on Friday 2 more debates that will close off round 1 of the competition. This afternoon we had Stanley Ramsaran viewing all the way from Alaska, and he said he was close to the Russian border. And we had Candy Annalisa, who says, well done to both teams and to those producing this debating competition. Yes, Alaska. Well, thanks for watching there, Stanley. Our young people in Guyana are now putting their skills to the test. Today, our judges are drawn from a wide cross-section of talent and expertise. Our chief judge is Ms. Nazima Raghubir. Nazima is a print and broadcast journalist. In 2018, she became the first elected woman to head the 76-year-old Guyana Press Association. She serves on the boards of the Jamaica headquartered Media Institute of the Caribbean and the University of Guyana Broadcasting Trust. For all her working life, Ms. Raghubir has been in the media as a writer, a reporter, managing editor, a news presenter. She has a number of regional and international organizations she represents. Ms. Ragabir has authored and edited several print and multimedia productions, including a published guide to the Parliament of Guyana. Our next judge is Mr. Rion Miller. Rion is a former youth parliamentarian, and in 2018, he was the best debater in the Youth Parliament of the National Assembly. He was also the senior counsel for the winning team at the CCJ International Law Mooting Competition 2019. Mr. Miller holds a Bachelor's of Law degree and is a second-year law student at the Hugh Wooding Law School. Rion is also a member of the Caribbean Airlines Park Steel Orchestra and a founder, creator, director of Panjaz Concerts. The third judge today is Mr. Neil Marks. Mr. Marks has worked in the print and broadcast media in Guyana for 22 years. He currently works as a producer and editorial consultant with Newsroom. He is also Guyana's correspondent for Reuters. Mr. Marks' work has appeared in the New York Times, the BBC, the UK Guardian, and he is the immediate past president of the Guyana Press Association. Neil speaks Mandarin. Ni hao, Neil. He is an advocate of the Creole language, and his goal is the establishment of community-based news hub in Guyana's minority languages. Our two teams again: Swing Star Community Developer Group out of number 58 Village, Upper Quarantine, and from the other side of the country, we have the ANIL Regina Youth Group. Our judges seem ready, so let me call first on Mr. Rion Miller to give some comments to our contestants.
Hi, good afternoon, contestants. First off, I'd like to say good job to everyone. I think the presentations were well done. It was well researched, and everybody brought their best today. For the overall comments, some of the good parts I noticed were both teams had a good introduction. They had a good definition of the terms and a good outline of how they plan to argue. And most of the teams stick to what each individual had to argue. The problem I had was the development of the points. Especially when you have such a small time frame, it's best to focus on one or two, or perhaps three major arguments to develop your point, and then you get sub-points to develop those points to develop your points. So what I found, there were like small clusters of arguments in each one of the speakers' presentations, so it kind of took away from what you were trying to prove. I saw there was good use of the dilemma argument. I also saw there was good use of statistics. Another point each speaker should have focused on was articulation. And when presenting, I found the common trend was to name who did a research, but not the name of the research. Like, you would say a study done by X university, but what was the study done on? So I think that was very instrumental. I think when you're quoting your statistics and you're stating where you got these facts from, you should really know who did the survey and what was the survey done on and what was the study. That was common for both teams. But overall, I think it was a good presentation. Kudos to you guys, and I hope you make it over to the Youth Parliament.
Thank you, Rion. Our next judge, Mr. Neil Marks. Neil, some comments for the participants.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Congratulations all. I could really sense your enthusiasm for this debate, and that translated a bit in your presentation. However, I found that neither of you were able to convince me on any of your arguments. Like I couldn't decide whose argument to really buy this afternoon. I think that was particularly the case because, as was mentioned by the previous judge, you had like a whole lot of points and didn't take time to develop a particular one so as to convince me really. I was really eager to listen to you this afternoon, especially given the level 2 disaster the country is facing and some of that blame being put to our problems with littering and poor garbage collection and so on. I was very surprised too that I heard no mention of the EPA. I don't know if that's because how you feel about it, but I heard no mention about it and any kind of information coming out from that particular body. I found that some of the research, particularly from the proposition, was way outside of Guyana, so it really didn't lend to your arguments this afternoon. So those are my comments. Congratulations again, all whoever wins. Please continue to show the spirit for debating. It certainly adds to national conversation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Neil Marks. And now our Chief Judge, Ms. Nazima Raghubir. Nazima?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to my fellow judges. Congratulations to both teams this afternoon who've contributed to this debate. I would have to agree with my colleagues here this afternoon. There was some good development of the arguments, and there were some good development of the types of sources that you're using. It is still a point that I have to belabor. Debating is not reading. Please desist from reading going forward in this competition until all the other debating teams. You have to come and develop your points and articulate those points with minimal reading. Your notes are there for you to consult with from time to time, but you know, it's very disappointing that throughout the competition that there are still persons who are reading. I want to let you know a little secret. Your source is known to you and maybe your team, but it's not known to the people who are listening. So you have to spend some amount of time to say, look, I get this from down there. And down there is, I take the information from down there because they know what they're saying. So, you know, it helps. So sometimes you can be citing all the sources all over the world, but it really don't matter to Auntie Parvati listening to this debate right now at home on she iPad. So I just wanted to let, you know, just impart that. So I'm just going to proceed with today's winner, Mr. Speaker, if you don't mind. Both teams, as we said, congratulations to you. The average points awarded to the proposition team, that is the Swing Star Community Development Group, was just around over 540 points. And for the Anna Regina Youth Group, more than 660 points. So congratulations to the Anna Regina Youth Group in Region 2 this afternoon. We all agreed that the best speaker was AMAR LOCHAN BOODRAM. He did came through with a lot of fire at the end. So, you know, you sounded very brilliant. You had your arguments lined up. Please continue to do a lot more research, and it's only going to get better from there on out. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, dear, our Chief Judge, Ms. Nazima Raghubir. Congratulations to Amar being the best speaker this afternoon. Congratulations to Swing Star for your presentations, and our congratulations to the Anna Regina Youth Group for winning this afternoon and moving on towards the next round, the quarterfinals. Thank you very much for participating, and as the judges say, it could only get better. Congratulations again, and thank you. Let me leave this afternoon by thanking our esteemed judges for once again participating this afternoon in our debate and judging another very interesting debate and a keenly contested one. Thanks to the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport and the Minister for identifying the youth groups for us at short notice, and thanks to our organizing team led by Ms. Carlotta Charles, all coming from the staff of the National Assembly. Congrats again and good afternoon to everyone. Have a great evening.